makes her bid for a little piece of history.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Run of the Race, the final episode for the 2018-19 season, and it's been a big season with some great performances, Mark.
Certainly has, and there was one on Saturday, wasn't there, Brit? Wasn't in Perth, it was in Melbourne, Victoria, by Scales of Justice.
That is very interesting. When we have a look at the punting form figures, when we saw him win, we said he's back. Scales of Justice is back. We know it's been a long injury layoff, but when we look at the figures, his performance was on par with his railway victory in 2016.
Minus 14 was the railway, minus 14.1 was the Bletchley Stakes, the second WA horse to win that in consecutive years. I don't think he beat too much on Saturday, but the clock doesn't lie, minus 14.1. And interestingly, completely different to the railway of 2016. He did it very late on Saturday, he did it early in the railway.
Well, hopefully he can continue producing those figures, because on that's his personal best. That suggests that he is back and back better than ever. Let's take a look at the meeting on Saturday, and speaking of better than ever, this horse has had just such a wonderful season. It's little Mia Dolce.
Settle back with Wicklow Princess and also near the rail Shadow Shifter, and towards the rear is Ancient Remedy. At the 450 they come up to the home corner, and the little filly Mia Dolce leads the way on the outside. Just hanging a little here is Excellent Dream at the top of the straight. In fact, it started to drift right out, Excellent Dream, and Mia Dolce had kicked away from them with Celestial down near the inside running to second. Back behind those Bubba Rucci, followed further back in the field by Special Choice. 150 left to go. Mia Dolce clear. Celestial battling away, followed then by Excellent Dream, but it's Mia Dolce. She's being willed to the line. She's going to have enough in hand, and she bows out her 2-year-old season a blaze of glory.
Mia Dolce winning yet again. What a consistent performer she has been throughout the whole of her 2-year-old season.
I think consistent is the key word here, and particularly if you have a look at the breakdown, every time she's led to the 600, that's 5 times she has won the race. She didn't do her PB on Saturday, that's minus 2.6, but she was minus 1.4, and she was very, very good. She doesn't make the file for the purposes of the run of the race, however. I'm willing to forget Excellent Dream here. Was wide, lay outwards, was a little bit green, and also came back with an elevated heart rate. This horse is going for a spell. I'm forgetting Fame City. Mike Sanchez has 2 runners in the race. This finished 10th. The other one, Shadow Shifter, finished 4th. And I will follow Special Choice here. Inconvenienced in the straight, fastest sectionals, including the clearly fastest last 200 metres. Like so many of these Peters horses, you'd expect would get better over further.
I think you want to be on wherever it goes next start, because for it to pick up after it was Inconvenience was very, very good, and to record that fastest last 200, particularly good from Special Choice. One to follow. Let's take a look at the next race. This one was taken out by Bell My Pago.
From home, along the side they come, and Ice Maker settles in front. Metro Boy racing a bit keenly up there second. Ascot Gold got planted. It's 3 deep, approaching the home corner on the outside of She's Vital, travelling up strongly behind them on the outside of deep cover. Tracking it is Bell My Pago with Apollo searching for a run, followed by Shapita Under Pressure and My Lady Fair. Ice Maker, Metro Boy, who looked to be going much, much better than it, looms up at the 200. Now he shakes up Metro Boy, went to Ice Maker. She's Vital, a length and a half away, followed by My Lady Fair. Metro Boy in front under heavy pressure. She's Vital. Bell My Pago is now splitting them here. Bell My Pago rushes through and threaded the...
Bell My Pago winning nicely, recording an overall figure of minus 2.6, a new personal best for the galloper.
Yeah, by quite some distance as well, 4 lengths. This is the reason why I couldn't really have this horse on Saturday, but the stable were very, very confident. Speaking to Marty Young after the race, he thought that Bell My Pago was several lengths better than Glasgow Girl, and through collateral form lines, that would have made a very good chance on Saturday. Looking at the file, I think Bell My Pago is clearly the horse to follow here. Was held up in the straight, fastest 6 to the 4 and 2 to the winning post. That shows exactly what happened to the horse, and still eligible for this grade. So follow Bell My Pago. Forgetting Shapita, hasn't finished off any of her last 3 races. Came back lame in the near fall, but clearly struggling on top of that. And I'll forgive My Fair Lady here. Was wide, back to the 1,000 metres after 2 runs over the 1,300 metres. Fastest from the 4 to the 2, but I think the effort told in the end.
Race number 3 we're now up to, an Essential Spice. She was deserving of a victory, and the punters certainly didn't miss her. Let's have a look.
Down near the rails, De-Angles. On the inside, Shinju with its nose in front from Miss Marietta. Chevelle de Varga makes a line of three, doing a mountain of work, trailed then by Dawn Armada. Getting a run now on the inside, Dacio at the top of the home straight. Essential Spice came around their heels and launches its claim. 250 from home, and Essential Spice, hands and heels from Pike. Dashes up quickly, races to the lead from Shinju. He has to really dig it up now with 100 left to go, but Essential Spice is responding. Pike draws the persuader, kicks away from Shinju. Why choose her? And Essential Spice won easily.
Essential Spice winning there. She was deserving of a victory because she'd ran some nice races behind some good horses.
Certainly has. Samizdat in particular. I think I saw Colin Pearce on Twitter say he was quite pleased to see the Ganjimi team say that they were going to go east with Samizdat. I think he offered to drive him there. Looking at the file, I will follow Essential Spice here. Deserved win. I know her ratings have slid since those runs behind Samizdat and Baron Bostock, but she clearly is much better than this grade. Forgetting Dawn Armada, both her wins last preparation were very low rating according to punting form. Did come to the races off a trial win, so I don't think there's any excuses there for Dawn Armada. And I will forgive Dacio, carried 57 kilos for the first time in her career. She's never carried more than 54 to win. She's won 3 races, but I think she needs to be down the bottom of those weights.
Completely agree. We talk about it all the time. She is so small that when she gets down in the weights, that's when you can get on, but she just can't quite produce it when she has to lump that heavier weight. All right, let's take a look at race number 4, and this one taken out by Mr. Albie.
Left to go. Inject the Venom. 2 lengths, Mr. Albie. He's got to bide his time to get to this leader who's coming back to them now, nearing the corner. iArt goes up now within striking distance, and around the outside, here's Nawadaroo letting loose. Being followed by Plays the Game, getting up on the inside of Beg to Differ. Spiritual Warrior, Paddy Shadow, followed further back then by At the Ready and Royal Strata last. Inject the Venom still in front. At the 200 though, Inject the Venom. Mr. Albie joins it now with iArt, Paddy Shadow. Nawadaroo can't go on. Mr. Albie reached the lead from iArt, Paddy Shadow. Mr. Albie, iArt keeps coming. Mr. Albie clings on. Mr. Albie wins it.
Mr. Albie probably put the writing on the wall last start with an improved performance, but on Saturday was able to go that bit better.
Yeah, look, he'd led his last 2 starts, but he'd been annoyed by other gallopers and they'd gone pretty fast. He settled second on Saturday behind the leader, and they dead set walked, as they often do in these staying races in Perth. So good win by Mr. Albie, but he doesn't make the foal. I will forgive Spiritual Warrior here. Probably needs a genuinely run race like the one he got 3 starts ago. He was pretty keen in the run because they went so slow. Forgetting Plays the Game here. Has been beaten 7 lengths plus on all 5 of its recent runs. Could quite easily have picked on the stablemate as well in Beg to Differ. And I'll follow Paddy Shadow here. Was wide from the 700, fastest last 2, 4 and 600 metres, including the fastest last 2 splits. This horse has really, really improved since they took the pads off a couple of starts ago.
It has indeed. That is a look at the first 4 races to come out of Saturday. We'll take a quick break, and on the other side, we'll look at the back half of the meeting.
Turning up for a picnic with chicken chunks? Ooh, orchies. Turning up for a picnic on a horse? Delightful. Life's better with horses. See you at the races.
Welcome back to the run of the race, where we are up to race number 5, and I think for me this was one of the races of the day because Free Trade, whilst it's not an overly huge overall figure, was a very, very gutsy win. Let's have a look.
The Devil that led them and worked his way past the 650, 3/4 of a length in front. Running second, Petrosity, and Spirit and Fire got trapped out there wide, enduring a tough run. Behind them, Black Sabbath, 4th, coming into the home corner. Then the favourite, Free Trade, sitting up just behind them for Parnham, about to come to the outside and now launch his run. Festival Miss, they went the short way home and got through inside of Petrosity, followed by Fair Trucive. It's Beat the Devil down to the 200. Black Sabbath, Festival Miss joins in. Parnham has to go for the whip on Free Trade from last. Here comes Moshard. It's Moshard storming up to Free Trade. Festival Miss. Free Trade goes to Moshard. Moshard's come to the end of his run. Free Trade got his head in front.
Free Trade winning there in what was a fast run race, over 5 lengths quicker than benchmark to the 600.
Yeah, good performance. Blinkers on first time. He looked like the loser with 100 to go, but he fought back. A combination of that and Moshard peaking on its run. Free Trade's been in the file before, but he doesn't make it this time. I'm willing to forgive Spirit and Fire. Finished 8th on Saturday, was slow away, then was wide, and none of the first 3 in running got within 4 lengths of the winner, and Spirit and Fire was one of those. Forgetting Black Sabbath simply hasn't delivered on the promise that he showed early on in his career. I'm willing to completely sack this horse now. And I will follow Beauty Canis out of this race. First up in WA, resumed without a trial, over-raced, second fastest last 4 and 600 metres. This was over 1200 on Saturday. Add one in the east over a mile. I think it might be worthwhile following this horse.
All right, an interesting one coming out of the east. We like to see how they measure up here in WA. Hopefully that is one that can get a win on the board sometime soon. Let's take a look at the next race, and Double Digit always manages to pop up every now and again, and Ash Maley had this horse on song on Saturday.
3/4 to Lord Help Me Run. Missile Launch comes off his heels now and about to launch his run. Back on the fence, Jatumi. Gonna Go works into it. Double Digit snuck up just behind those in a bunching field into the corner, and Touch of Silver's right off the track. No Saying It searching for a run. Giraffe heads for the judge at the 300, a length and a half. Jatumi about to get off the heels of the leader. Then down the outside, Touch of Silver starts to chime in. Missile Launch is there. Double Digit got held up, but now he gets a wriggle on. He found a bit of room. Double Digit with 100 left to go. Ranged up, grabbed Jatumi. Touch of Silver, no Saying It, but Double Digit wins it. Double Digit by a length.
The punters didn't miss Double Digit, and Double Digit delivered a very slowly run race, but the horse was able to come home over 6 lengths better than benchmark.
Low draw, low weight, and he had been building towards this. His runs, his preparation had been quite good. He makes the foal here, but he's only a token selection for me because I don't really want to follow too much out of this race. I thought he was really good value for what would have been a wider margin had he got clear earlier than he did. Forgetting Missile Launch, very similar to Black Sabbath, this horse, promised a lot, has delivered absolutely zero, and I will forgive Lord Help Me Run. Too bad to be true, this horse on Saturday. Stephen Wolf was asked by the stewards to explain the performance. He thought the horse didn't like being on pace. We'll forgive that one.
Okay, hopefully we can see Lord Help Me Run bounce back, because undoubtedly a talented galloper. Let's take a look at the next race, and we just mentioned Double Digit as a bit of an underestimated horse. Well, Fred Dagg, when it came to the market, was also underestimated, opened up a bigger price and was able to salute.
Resistance in the middle, and outside of it is the fave Fred Dagg. It was being tracked into the race then by, on the outside, Deception Game, and back near the rail, Sovereign Trade will need some luck. Fancy Fox had dropped out, and last is Witness in Court, but at the top of the home straight, Fair Scenari led. It's Fair Scenari for the judge, a length and a half. Bold Success, Skin and Tins into the clear. In behind them, Fred Dagg is starting to wind up now. Here he comes, Fred Dagg. He surges up, 200 to go. Hits the lead from Skin and Tins, who's going to match it with him. With 100 left to go, though, Fred Dagg now puts paid to Skin and Tins, and then Maserati, but he's much too good here for them, Fred Dagg, and Fred Dagg has gone on to beat Skin and Tins.
Fred Dagg wins there and records just a moderate figure.
Yeah, Bruce Watkins is aiming this horse towards the Ascot Racing Carnival. He's thinking perhaps the IJ Peter Stakes, which if you nominate for the Railway would make you ballot exempt for that. His PB is minus 6.1. That was over the 1800 metres. He ran minus 1.7 on Saturday. He's the follow horse here, but a bit like the last race, pretty much a token pick. He went back to back. I just think he might be a little bit below the class needed to win an RJ Peters Stakes. Forgetting Resistance here, 20th consecutive defeat for Resistance, and her racing pattern means she always needs too much luck to be a betting commodity. And forgiving Deception Game here, wide, was fastest from the 10 to the 8 and the 2 to the winning post, was stepping up from a midweek win, willing to give him one more chance.
All right, let's take a look at the last race on the program, and this one was taken out by the Fugazi, who, dare I say, got the run of the race, but it's a nice figure.
Zephyr Queen took a little breather at the 600 mark. Zephyr Queen led Recharger. Harry Thomas 3 off the fence. The Fugazi is getting a gun run into the home corner. He's up running fourth right behind Zephyr Queen at the top of the straight and travelling well for McGruddy. Rosebush is next in the middle, followed by Bow Count to the outside. Distant Trilogy in front of On the Terps. Well, the Fugazi now comes away from the rails as the gap opens, and McGruddy shoots him to the lead at the 200. The Fugazi from Zephyr Queen. They've kicked away 3 lengths now in front of Recharger on the Terps down the outside, but the fave is home and hosed in the last as McGruddy rides him to the line. Goes on to win it easily, the Fugazi, by about 2 lengths.
The Fugazi winning, recording an overall figure of -5.3. That's over 5 lengths better than benchmark.
Good performance. This race was destroyed by scratchings and the Fugazi went off odds on, but you can't knock the performance. He resumed without a trial and he's now won his first 2 runs back. He clearly is the follow horse here. It was a PB by 3.5 lengths. And critically for mine, he did it at both ends. He was good early and he was certainly good late. Forgetting Harry Thomas, doesn't win this horse. 18 consecutive defeats, a total money muncher, even though he places some of the time. And I'll forgive On the Terps. He slipped on jump in, he lost a couple of lengths, was held up in the straight as well, came home with the fastest last 200. You can't beat the Fugazi when you make those type of mistakes at the start of the race.
All right, speaking of the Fugazi and our best performers on Saturday, is it that horse?
Certainly is. Best overall and best class racing for the Fugazi. -5.3 overall and -3.4 when you take into account the class of the race. Looking at the closing sectionals, Why Choose Her, the fastest last 200, Essential Spice, the fastest last 400, and another winner in Belmai Pago, the fastest last 600.
All right, that's a look at the meeting in its totality. We'll take a quick break and on the other side, we'll see how our tipsters are going.
Arriving for a hot date on a moped. Disappointing. Arriving for a hot date on a horse? Fantastic! Life's better with horses. See you at the races.
Welcome back to the run of the race, where it is time to have a look at the Tipstar competition, and we talk about moving days and non-moving days. On Saturday, most of our winners were at pretty ordinary prices, but there are a couple of place getters that had a bit of value there.
I think it's the first time in PR Tipstar history that you needed to have your big bet on a non-winner. That horse was Maserati, paid $14.20 the place in the penultimate race on the card, and that was the biggest price available all day.
That is just quite extraordinary, isn't it? $14.20 for a place. Did our winner for the week manage to find Maserati?
No, I don't think too many people found Maserati, but did find Belmai Pago. In fact, found the first 6 winners: Mia Dolce, Belmai Pago, Essential Spice, Mr. Albi, Free Trade and Double Digit. Went a little bit wider in the last 2 races with Resistance, who has officially been sacked now, and Zephyr Queen from your yard that ran a place. 1,034 points. Luke Gill was the winner.
That was a really great performance to tip the first 6 winners. He would have been rubbing his hands together. So well done to Luke. Is it enough to get him in the top 8 leaderboard?
No, it's not. So not much movement at the station this week on the leaderboard after 10 rounds. Glenn Montague is still the leader. He did increase his lead over Daniel Barnard by a couple of 100 points on Saturday, but it's still all to play for with round 11 coming up.
Looking forward to that. That is this weekend. Make sure you get your tips in and try find those big price ones. If you can find a Maserati at a big place price, you can go a long way to moving up that leaderboard. Looking forward to Saturday afternoon, the new season sprint, the start of the 2019-20 racing season. Thanks for joining us on the Run of the Race. We'll catch you next week.
She makes her bid for a little piece of history.